And welcome everyone to this South Huron Council meeting, August 10th, 2026. We welcome our staff who are here to provide us facts and information so that we can make the best decisions on behalf of the residents of South Huron. We welcome them. We welcome our members of council that are here, and we welcome the public that will join us either virtually or in the gallery tonight. We'll ask this meeting to be called to order, and we'll ask everyone to rise for O Canada. And if everyone can make sure that their cell phones are either turned off or on mute, with the exception of our volunteer firefighters, which can leave their cell phones on. And we'll start with our meeting with our land acknowledgement. As we gather, we are reminded that the municipality of South Huron is situated on Treaty 29 land that is steeped in rich Indigenous history and home to First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people today. And as a community, we have a responsibility to honor and respect this territory's significance for the Indigenous peoples who lived and continue to live upon it, and whose practices and spiritualities were tied to the land and continue to develop in relationship to the territory and its other inhabitants today. In the spirit of reconciliation and truth, we acknowledge the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee peoples on whose traditional territory we are meeting. We'll move on to item number 2. Ms. Masuka-Carlson.
That South Huron Council approves the agenda as presented.
And a mover for that, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, second by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? It carries with 7. Thank you. Item number 3, disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Are there any disclosures at this time? And not seeing any, we have no presentation, no delegations, no public meeting. Move on to 7.1. Ms. Masuka-Carlson.
That South Huron Council adopts the minutes of the public and regular council meeting of July 13th, 2026, as printed and circulated.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, second by Councillor Dietrich. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. Next item, please.
That the minutes, agendas, correspondence, and reports of the following committees and/or boards be received as presented to council. The Grand Bend Area Joint Sewage Board, the minutes of April 30th, 2026, and draft financial statements. Huron OPP Detachment Board, minutes of May 25th, 2026. Exeter Business Improvement Area, BIA, minutes of June 22nd, 2026. Exeter Rodeo, minutes of June 24th, 2026. Committee of Adjustment, draft minutes of July 13th, 2026. Upper Thames River Conservation Authority, Western Lake Erie Regional Conservation Authority, WLERCA transition.
And a mover for that, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, moves, seconded by Deputy Mayor. Any discussion? Councillor Oak, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just noticed on item 8.1, 5.1, it talked about an over contribution, and it should say South Huron and not Huron Shores under that.
Yes, and Madam Clerk, I believe she's aware of that already. Go ahead.
Through the chair, I will be in discussions with the clerk from Lambton Shores to have that corrected.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a mover and a seconder. Is there any further discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. 9, please.
That South Huron Council received staff report CSD 09-2026 for snow removal, grass cutting and trimming services, and that council award contracts to the lowest bidders as follows. Snow services to McClellan Group Rentals and Services for Zone 1, Casey's Landscaping Management, Inc. for Zones 2, 3, 5, 6, and Grass Cutting and Trimming Services to 4C for Zones 1 and 6, Honeydew Landscaping for Zones 2, 3, and 4, and Casey's Landscaping Management, Inc. for Zone 5.
And a mover for that, please. Moved by Counselor Need, second by Counselor Oak. Any discussion? Counselor Oak, please.
Yeah, thank you. Just clarification, is this a 3-year contract for for both grass cutting and snow removal?
Through the mayor, yes, it is a 3-year contract.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Counselor Dietrich?
Thanks, Chair. Who's the 4C contractor?
Through the mayor. So we haven't worked with them previously. My understanding is they are out of Kettle Point, though. Yeah, that's all I can say as to who they are right now.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, not seeing any. We have a mover and a seconder. If there's no further discussion, call the question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. Next item, please.
That South Huron Council received staff report Fire 06-2026, Q2 2026 Fire Department activity.
And a mover for that, please. Moved by Counselor Neeb, second by Counselor Oak. Any discussion? Counselor Neeb, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mayor Finch. And just more of a statement about there being a total of 85 calls just in the first quarter and the second quarter. In terms of carbon monoxide incidents, what generally happens during one of those incidents? So you get a call for a carbon monoxide alarm.
Thank you, through Mayor Finch. So carbon monoxide alarm, very similar to a smoke alarm, where the alarm has activated, and then we investigate it. Majority of the times it turns out to be a faulty alarm, but we have had instances over the last year where we have had carbon monoxide positive incidents.
Thank you. Any other questions? Not seeing. We have a mover and a seconder. If there's no further discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. Next item, please.
That South Huron Council received staff report Fire 7-2026 Fire Protection Grant 2026-2027, and the council authorizes the submission of a funding application to the Fire Protection Grant 2026-2027 for supporting cancer prevention efforts and to assist with lithium-ion battery responses.
And a mover, moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Counselor Neeb. Any discussion? Counselor Neeb.
Just again, more of a informational question. In terms of supplies and equipment that's needed for lithium ion battery fires, I was just wondering if you could go into detail about what exactly it is required in order to respond to that type of emergency, seeing as we're starting to see a lot more of those like e-bikes and lithium ion battery vehicles, equipment, etc.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Finch, that's a great question. This is still an evolving topic in the province and in the country. So there's constantly new equipment coming out. The problem with lithium ion batteries is there's no real way to extinguish the fire. You can cool it, but once it goes into thermal runaway, that's all you can do is to cool it. There are some products out there for disposal, and we're researching that at a county level with companies that handle this stuff, because it's just not cost effective for everyone to have this stuff. It is expensive. Stuff expires, but we're looking at all different sorts of options. Right now we have some nozzles for the vehicles that we can put underneath them. We've also purchased shovels, rakes, stuff to go through if we had a fire inside a building, to go through them to look for a compromised battery, because we've got information that these batteries can start up hours and days later after they've been compromised by heat. So it's evolving, it's changing. We are seeing a very big uptick in the larger urban centers like Toronto. They've had a fair number already this year. So we're watching what our big brothers are doing in the cities and following suit. But we are looking at it at the county chief level, at a regional level, and we're exploring options with some disposal companies for that.
Great. Thank you very much. Deputy, you have something?
Thank you. As a property owner, is there anywhere that, or any place or anything that you can buy to store these batteries in so that if something happened, it's contained in there? Thank you.
Through you, Mayor Finch, a metal container would probably be the best. There are products that you can put them in after they've had an issue, or if they will swell up with heat. We've had people come to the door with a cell phone that was on the dash of their car, and we sent them to Rogers downtown to deal with that. They can get very hot, and then when they do go into thermal runaway, if it's something in a heavy metal container would be the best. But we've seen cordless batteries for tools spontaneously go into thermal runaway in a trailer, a contractor's trailer, not even being used, just sitting there. So it is happening. It's happening in South Huron, and we're just hoping that everybody, first of all, follows the manufacturer's guidelines with their chargers and uses the correct stuff.
Thanks, Chief. Any other comments? Okay, not seeing any. We have a mover and a seconder. There's no further discussion. I'll call the question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. Next item, please.
The South Huron Council received staff report FIN 13-2026, the 2026 second quarter operating budget variance report.
And a mover for that, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, seconded by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. 9.4.2.
The South Huron Council received staff report BL 03-2026, the second quarter summary of bylaw infractions and requests for service.
And a mover for that, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Neeb. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Carries with 7. Thank you. 9.4.3, please.
The South Huron Council received staff report CAO 11-2026, the Q2 2026 strategic priorities progress tracker.
And a mover for that, please. Councillor Neeb moves, seconded by Councillor Vaughn. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Carries with 7. Thank you. Next item, please.
The South Huron Council received staff report CAO 12-2026, the memorandum of understanding between the municipality of South Huron and Osable Bayfield Conservation Authority, ABCA, the South Huron Trails. And that the council approved the memorandum of understanding between the municipality of South Huron and Osable Bayfield Conservation Authority for the South Huron Trail and related municipal lands as presented, and that the necessary bylaw be forwarded to council for the required 3 readings.
And a mover for that. Councillor Neeb moves, seconded by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Councillor Neeb and then Councillor Oak.
It's just more of a comment that this is positive news that we're able to actually formalize an agreement, so the public can continue to use that asset indefinitely. I think the highlight for me is the commemorative trail expansion. So that's really positive that the ABCA is willing to continue and lengthen that trail out in that section of the trail. So that's really positive news that we're, again, formalizing the agreement, but again, expanding it so that future generations can utilize that trail. It's an amazing asset that we have in the community, and thank goodness that we have a good partner in the ABCA to manage those sections of the trail that they own. So that's all.
Yep. Thank you very much. And Councillor Oak, you have a comment.
And thank you. And sort of in follow up to Councillor Neeb's comment, just a question with the consolidation that's going on, what happens to this MOU with the larger conservation area? Just the next steps.
Through the mayor, I can start and then perhaps Councillor Vaughn can add in. It is my understanding that any agreement that's in place before that will continue to be in place. And that's one of the reasons the ABCA reached out to get this all formalized.
Councillor Vaughn, do you want to add to that?
I would, yes. I would say that our CAO is absolutely correct. Anything that's in place now will carry forward into the new organization. And if I may, I just wanted to add to this. You probably noticed, or you may have noticed from consultations that have occurred in putting together this report that Nathan Scolier has been referenced as the acting general manager and secretary. So during the last ABCA board meeting, it was announced that Davin has accepted a new position. And he's going to be moving to, what is it? The Western Lake Erie Regional Conservation Authority. So big step up there for Davin, well deserved. And also excellent is Nathan. He's been a tremendous asset to ABCA, so he has stepped up into Davin's role. So I just thought I'd highlight that. Good news in case anybody didn't happen to notice it.
Councillor Oak.
Yeah, just wondering, has there been any announcement for the new region that we're going to be in, who the general manager is?
Actually, there has been an announcement on that as well. A fellow by the name of Don Goodyear will be taking over. He's currently with the Lake Simcoe Conservation Authority. So I've heard from Nathan just today that great chap, very easy to get along with, very much wanting to understand what's going on in the conservation authorities that will be in that umbrella. So things are sounding positive. That's good.
Great, thank you. Any other comments at all? Not seeing any. We have a mover and a seconder. If there's no further discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carries with 7. Thank you. Any notice of motion that we require to?
There are none.
None, thank you. Items for discussion arising from the previous meeting, sorry. Anyone wish to discuss anything with Bruce Power? Okay, not seeing any. New business. Councillor Neeb, go ahead, please.
Yep. Thank you, Mayor Finch. I just wanted to hopefully have a little dialogue with council about our meeting on Wednesday. On Wednesday, we have a committee of the whole meeting where we're discussing committees as well as the procedural bylaw. And those are not very small things. Council knows we're about 96 days away from an election, and pretty soon there will be a new council. And I have a little bit of a concern with council making changes to say something like a meeting time, other procedural changes, as well as committees without having the due diligence of the new council able to review the procedural bylaw, reviewing the committees. And I don't think it's very responsible for us to, again, it feels like shutting the door only for the new council to then potentially reopen some of these committees, reopen some of these items from the procedural bylaw. So I was wondering if council would be interested in deferring the reports that were on the agenda for the committee of the whole to the next council, just in terms of fairness, so that they have a good kick at the can.
I believe we have 4 meetings left before the election. Any comments from members of council? Councillor Vaughn.
Yeah, I understand exactly what Councillor Neeb is saying. It's kind of a double-edged sword. On the one hand, the council that is here today has had 4 years to deal with the procedural bylaw and the ins and outs of it and what works and what doesn't work, and has a hopefully more experience in just how to run a good meeting, what to expect from their fellow councillors, what things like notice of motion means, and so on. And so from one angle, it's kind of, in my mind, unfair to ask a brand new council to be able to opine on a great deal of the information that's considered in a procedural bylaw, because they really haven't had time to work with it at all. So I think to ask them in the first year would also be unfair, because they've got no experience at all. Yeah, so I don't really think there's a whole lot of change to this procedural bylaw, except the time. That's a biggie. Yeah, so I'm very much in mixed emotions, but I would not be looking for a new council to try to come up with answers to a procedural bylaw within the first year. I'd like
Thank
to
you,
see.
Councillor Neeb. Sorry, are you finished, Councillor?
Yeah, I think I'm
Oh, sorry.
finished.
Councillor Neeb, you have something, then Councillor Oak.
Councilor Oak can go first.
Okay, Councillor Oak, go ahead, please.
Thank you. I think to Councillor Vaughn's comments, I think we're looking at just tweaking it. If there's anything, there's no major changes. Yes, the time is one of the discussion points, but the rest of the stuff we've been talking about, and we're just trying to clean up maybe some things in the procedural bylaw. The committees, I guess we've been all sitting on the various committees. We have a bit of an input to decide, to give our feedback if it makes sense to continue with some of these committees or not. But I don't think it's a bad thing. And a year from now, it might all get changed. You're right, with a new council, but I think we should have some input since we've been operating with these committees and procedural bylaw for the last 4 years. So that was just my thought, that we would carry on. And if another council decides to change everything that we've change it back, that's their decision at that time. So,
Councillor Neeb?
I guess just coming from my perspective and knowing that the change from 6 to 5 p.m. Is pretty significant, right? And again, it will be the new council's prerogative to make those changes. So I guess I'm wondering if we should just be making a recommendation to the new council as opposed to solidifying a whole new set of procedural bylaw and committees without their input. Again, I don't know how democratic it is for us to just assume that the new council is incapable of making a decision about the procedural bylaw. At one point we were all first-time councillors as well, so I just wonder about the legitimacy of and calling in staff to make these decisions that again could just be overturned in 3 months. So again, I'm in favor of making a recommendation to the new council just based on our experience and knowledge of how the process goes. But again, I'm concerned about the amount of time we're potentially spending just for the new council to change.
And that'd be a very strategic way to speak in the recommendation, as you say. Any other comments from members of council? Deputy, go ahead, please.
Thank you. I really don't see any problem with having a look at this during the committee of the whole, have a discussion about it and see where it takes us. Like, I saw some stuff on there that I think the recommendations would be great. So that was my point of just moving it ahead through the committee and see where it goes from there. We don't have to make decisions if they're not clear. So I would like to see us go ahead with it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything further at this time then? Okay, very well. Move on from 12 to 13. Mayor and councillor comments and announcements. Are there any announcements or comments? Deputy, you had something for the weekend?
Thank you. As you know, it was rodeo weekend and another great successful rodeo. We stayed out of the wet weather that was all around us. The rodeo committee did a great job of setting up, cleaning up, keeping the event going, trying to keep everybody happy. The BIA, I thank them. Volunteers, excellent. Parking went smooth. We had no issues. Saddle Club worked well with us all weekend as volunteers. Staff, unbelievable. Anything we asked for, they were there. Thanks to everyone that come out to support us. Just, like I said, unbelievable. So we can't do that without them, and look forward to next year doing it again. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for volunteering to be on the committee for next year, Deputy. Thank you very much. Is that what I take? Okay. Anyways, yeah, I was at the rodeo too, and it was amazing, the coordination between the staff, the BIA, the volunteers. tremendous. And the comments we had coming back were just great. I met people there from New Zealand, from Poland, different places. I thought it's very impressive that they took the time to come here while they're on vacation. So kudos to the committee. If you could pass it along, we appreciate it. Any other comments at all? Councillor Vaughn.
Yes, thank you. I would just like to give a shout out to Carrie Noyes and her grandson, Blake Woodcroft. The two of them have volunteered to be great stewards of the Port Blake Beach by volunteering to clean up garbage, and also looking to see if in the process, if Blake can earn a couple of volunteer hours. So I've been speaking with the CAO, and who I think in turn has been speaking with them about how we should go forward on a volunteer basis. I'd also like to just ask if the CAO has any comments to provide us with following our conversation on Port Blake cleanup from last council.
Thank you. Through the mayor. So just to update everybody, staff have met with legal and the insurer and Huron Erie Water. Used to be Lake Huron Water Supply. They've changed their name. We put up extra garbage receptacles and purchased some signage. As in the past, garbage bags continue to be offered, as well as grabbers, to any of the volunteers or people that come to the beach and want to take them, and they have been well used. I know that our general manager, as well as our manager, actually visited today. They went down to the beach, and it looked amazing, thanks to lots of volunteers. And the additional resources provided. So garbage is being managed, and we are monitoring. If needed, we will do a cleanup, but at this point, it's been assessed, and we're continually assessing it.
Great, great, thanks.
Yeah, and to your point, I helped Blake on Friday night. I was back there for an hour or so with him and his grandmother and family. And yeah, he's quite a ambitious young man, to say the least. And we spent about an hour together, and there was very, very little garbage there. That's because he cleaned up how many bags the week before on the Monday night. So it was a testament to working together with our youth. And it was great to see him and others work together. So any other comments at this time? Not seeing any. We'll move on to correspondence and communication. Ms. Masuda calls.
14.1, 14.2, 14.3, 14.4,
Hold that one, please.
14.5, 14.6, that's
Oh.
for 0.1 and 0.2, okay. 14.7, 14.8,
Oh.
that's 0.1 and 0.2, 14.9, 14.10, 14.11, 14.12, 14.13, 14.14, 14.15, 14.16, 14.17, 14.18, 14.19, 14.20, and that's 0.1, 0.2, and 0.3. 14.21, that's 0.1 and 0.2. And 14.22, 0.1 and 0.2.
Oh,
Okay.
Councillor Oak, 14.4, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to submit that we would support this request.
Very well, Madam Clerk, we'll prepare that.
That South Huron Council grants an exemption to the noise bylaw for the Kirkton Agricultural Society for Friday, September 11th, 2026 to 1 a.m. and then Saturday, September 12th, 2026 to 1 a.m. for the Kirkton Fall Fair.
So moved.
So moved.
Seconder, please. Councillor Deputy Mayor Dietrich seconds that. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carries with 7. Thank you. 14.6, Counselor Need.
Yep, this corresponds from the Royal Canadian Legion, and they're requesting use of the cenotaph on November 8th, as well as September 13th. So I'd be willing to put forward a motion to support their use of the cenotaph for their services.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
So that South Huron Council approve the temporary road closure for Main Street South from Gidley to Saunders Street for the Legion District C Cenotaph service on Sunday, September 13th, 2026 from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., as well as the temporary closure of Main Street South from Gidley Street to Saunders Street from 9:45 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Sunday, November 8th, 2026 for the annual Legion Remembrance Parade.
So moved, Counselor Need.
Yep, so moved.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that, please? Counselor Vaughn seconds. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carries with 7. Thank you. 14.8, Counselor Need.
Yep, thank you, Mayor Finch. And I was just wondering if there was any updates from the Huron County Accessibility Committee as far as where they're at.
We have not received any response yet from the Accessibility Committee, but we have reached out.
Thank you. Don't believe there's anything else, so we will go to, oh, sorry, Deputy Mayor, you had 14.22.
Yes, I would like to support that motion.
Very well. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
That South Huron Council supports the Huron OPP Dispassionate Board supporting resolution in regards to traffic calming and speeding mitigation techniques, and that the supporting resolution and originating documentation be circulated to the Premier of Ontario, MTO, Minister of Finance, MP Lobb, MPP Thompson, AMO, Roma, and all Ontario Police Service Boards and all municipalities in Ontario.
So moved, Deputy. No moved. Is there a seconder? Counselor Oak seconds. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carries with 7. Thank you. Ms. Masul calls and recommendation, please.
That South Huron Council receive communication items not otherwise dealt with.
And a mover, please. Moved by Counselor Need, seconded by Counselor Vaughn. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. Now we go into 15, closed session.
The South Huron Council proceeds in closed session at 6:33 p.m. for the purpose of addressing the following in accordance with subsection 239 2C and F of the Municipal Act, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, and advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, that the CAO, General Manager of Fire and Community Services, and clerk remain in attendance.
And a mover for that, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Counselor Vaughn. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. And we're back into open session now, so I will be reporting out under item 16, report from closed session. Council met in closed session to consider matters. It is permitted to do so under the Municipal Act and is listed on today's council. The following items were considered during the closed session: a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality of local board. As a result of our closed session today, the closed meeting minutes of June 15, 2026 were approved, and the following resolution will be considered by council in an open session. Item 1, that staff proceed with option 1 as discussed in closed session August 10th, 2026. And do we have a mover for that, please? Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Vaughn. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor, and that carries with, hands up, please. 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you. Carries with 5. Item number 2, that South Huron Council receives staff report CL-14-2026 for information, and that staff proceed with option 1 as set out in the report. Is there a mover for that, please? Councilor McLeod-Haggett moves. Is there a seconder, please? Councillor Vaughn seconds. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor. And that, keep your hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That carries with 6. Thank you. And that's the part, the end of the closed session. The reporting from closed session. We'll go to 17.1. Ms. Basula-Collison.
That South Huron Council gives first, second, third, and final reading to bylaw 51/2026, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a site plan agreement between the Corporation of the Municipality of South Huron and Lake Huron Primary Water System Supply System Joint Board of Management in the Municipality of South Huron in the County of Huron.
And a mover for that, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, seconded by Councillor Vaughn. Any discussion? Call a question, all in favor. That carries with 7. Thank you. 17.2.
That South Huron Council gives first, second, third, and final reading to bylaw 52/2026, being a bylaw to adopt a fire ladder truck agreement with the municipality of Lambton Shores.
And a mover for that. Deputy Mayor moves, seconded by Councillor Neeb. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor. Carries with 7. Thank you. 17.3.
The South Huron Council gives first, second, third, and final reading to bylaw 53/2026, being a bylaw to authorize an agreement with His Majesty the King in right of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Transportation, MTO, for funding under the Connecting Link Program 2026-2027 Intake 11 Contribution Agreement.
And a mover for that, please. Moved by Councillor Oak, seconded by Councillor Neeb. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor. And that carries with 7. 17.4.
That South Huron Council gives first, second, third, and final reading to bylaw 54/2026, being a bylaw to dedicate certain lands as a public highway.
And a mover for that, please. Councillor Neeb moves, seconded by Deputy Mayor. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor. Carries with 7. Thank you. 17.5.
The South Huron Council gives first, second, third, and final reading to bylaw 54/2026, being a bylaw to authorize the submission of an application to the Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation, OILC, for financing of certain capital works of the Corporation of the Municipality of South Huron, to authorize temporary borrowing from OILC to meet expenditures in connection with such capital works, and to authorize long-term borrowing for such capital works through the issue of debentures to OILC Dashwood Fire Station.
And a mover, moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Neeb. Any discussion? Councillor McLeod-Haggett, please.
Sorry, through you, Mayor Finch. The question that I'm going to ask right now is actually going to be for the next 3 bylaws. And I think that it's important that we do this for these, given that there's going to be a new council coming in, so they can go back and watch and see how the bylaw for this type of debt financing works in. So I've talked to our CAO already. Just looking if you can give us a breakdown and an explanation on how these debts are going to be repaid, each one directing it to our general tax levy, DC charges, wastewater, or our water and wastewater.
Through the mayor, we have our treasurer on, and so she's prepared to be able to speak to this. Thank you.
Welcome, Julia. Good to see you whenever you're ready.
Hello, thank you, and through you, Mayor Finch. So for bylaw 55-2026, it is proposed to be repaid 100% via taxation. For bylaw 56-2026, it is proposed to be repaid 100% through user fees. And for bylaw 57-2026, it's proposed to be repaid 60.08% by user fees and 39.92% by development charges. And that is in accordance with the recently passed development charges background study.
Thank you very much, Julia. Any further questions, Councillor Oak?
Yeah, just and we're not on that one yet, 17.6, but because we're talking about this right at the moment, in the past, some of these we've put like a cost recovery bylaw in place for future development would pay this back. Is that going to be the case in this situation?
Julia?
I might have to defer to the CAO on that one. I don't believe there's been discussions about that as of yet, but I might let Rebecca fill in on that.
Through the mayor, in this case, the DC charges are like for bylaw 57-2026. That's the for the London Road South Sanitary Sewer. That one, part of my understanding is some of the growth for that was covered in the grant that we received from the province. The rest, and if you can clarify for me, Julia, I believe both of these were included in the water financial plan that was passed. This isn't any new amounts to be added in.
Through you, Mayor Finch. Yes, that's correct. They were both included in the water wastewater rate study. And Rebecca's also correct about the grant funding the portion of the growth related portion for the London Road South. This was looked at, I believe, when we were doing the development charges background study. And the growth related portion of this project was being covered from the grant. So that's why it was excluded from the DC study.
He thinks, and just wondering if we can stay on 17.5 and deal with that one. If there's any further questions on that, maybe we can discuss that right now. Just so we don't have any confusion. Councillor Neebe, you had something?
Yeah, can we have a recorded vote?
Sure, we can do that. Are there any questions further on 17.5? Okay, so we have a mover and a seconder. I'll go to our clerk to ask for that recorded vote.
That South Huron Council gives first, second, third, and final reading to bylaw 55-2026, being a bylaw to authorize the submission of an application to the Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation, OILC, for financing of certain capital works of the Corporation of the Municipality of South Huron to authorize temporary borrowing from the OILC to meet expenditures in connection with such capital works and to authorize long-term borrowing for such capital works through an issue of debentures to the OILC. And this is regarding the Dashwood Fire Station. Moved by
That's 50, I think you read 50 or 17.6. I think that was 17.5 that we should be reading. You've referenced the fire station.
Sorry, through the chair, 55-2026 is the Dashwood Fire Station. Is the first.
54.
Oh, there's an error.
Sorry, there's sorry, administrative error. It is bylaw 55-2026. So that was moved by Deputy Mayor Dietrich, seconded by Councillor Neebe. Councillor Neebe called for a reported vote. Councillor Neebe?
Yes.
Councillor Vaughn?
Yes.
Councillor McLeod-Higgett?
Yes.
Councillor Oak?
Yes.
Mayor Finch?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dietrich?
Yes.
Councillor Dietrich? That carries 7-0.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item number 17.6, and we'll read that motion, a recommendation, and then we can have discussion on that.
That South Huron Council gives first, second, third, and final reading to bylaw 56, 2026, being a bylaw to authorize the submission of an application to Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation, OILC, for financing of certain capital works of the Corporation of the Municipality of South Huron, to authorize temporary borrowing from OILC to meet expenditures in connection with such capital works, and to authorize long-term borrowing for such capital works through the issue of debentures to OILC, London Road South Sanitary Sewer.
And the mover for that, please. Counselor Need moves, seconded by Counselor McLeod Haggett. Any discussion? Counselor Dietrich and then Counselor Oak.
Thanks to the mayor. What's the interest rate on some of these debentures? Are they all the same or is each one different?
Julia, would you be able to respond to the interest rate?
Yes, through you, Mayor Finch. The interest rate will really depend on the timing of the debenture. We don't know it until within days of when you finalize the debenture. Right now, the rates that the indicative rates they're called that Infrastructure Ontario is giving out is 5.04 the last I checked, which was a few days ago. Some of the one grant application is through the housing enabling. That's the one we got the grant for. That one they've indicated to me you could get a slightly more favorable rate on that one. But for the most part, it's all the same rate, just depending on whatever day you do it and the rate at that time.
Thank you. Counselor Oak.
Yeah, thank you. And as I brought up as we were discussing earlier, I just didn't know if this a cost recovery bylaw, because the other portion of this trunk sewer, I believe we do have a cost recovery bylaw for it at the time that was put in place for future expansion in the south end. So I just didn't know if we would be putting in a cost recovery bylaw for this amount as well.
Okay, Mr. Sewell-Colson.
Through the mayor, at this time, we haven't decided that, and we don't have to decide that right now. That is something that we can bring back and review.
Thank you. Any other questions at this time? Counselor Need?
Yep, can we have a recorded vote?
Certainly.
That South Huron Council gives first, second, third, and final reading to bylaw 56, 2026, being a bylaw to authorize the submission of an application to Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation, OILC, for financing of certain capital works of the Corporation of the Municipality of South Huron, to authorize temporary borrowing from the OILC to meet expenditures in connection with such capital works, and to authorize long-term borrowing for such capital works through the issue of debentures to the OILC. And this is regarding the London Road South Sanitary Sewer Project. And that was moved by Councillor Neeb, second by Councillor McLeod Haggett. Councillor Neeb called for a recorded vote. Councillor Vaughn?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dietrich?
Yes.
Mayor Finch?
Yes.
Councillor Neeb?
Yes.
Councillor Oak?
Yes.
Councillor McLeod Haggett?
Yes.
Councillor Dietrich?
Yes.
That carries 7-0.
Very well, thank you. 17.7 then.
The South Huron Council gives first, second, third, and final reading to bylaw 57, 2026, being a bylaw to authorize the submission of an application to Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation, OILC, for financing of certain capital works of the Corporation of the Municipality of South Huron, to authorize temporary borrowing from OILC to meet expenditures in connection with such capital works, and to authorize long-term borrowing for such capital works through the issue of debentures to OILC, the Huron Park Sewage Pumping Station upgrades.
And a mover for that, please. Moved by Councillor McLeod Haggett, seconded by Councillor Dietrich. Any discussion? Okay, no discussion. I'll call the question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. Confirming bylaw.
That South Huron Council gives first, second, third, and final reading to bylaw 58, 2026, being a bylaw to confirm matters addressed at the August 10th, 2026 council meeting.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, seconded by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Carries with 7. Thank you. And 19.
Let South Huron Council hereby adjourn at 7:17 PM to meet again on September 8th, 2026 at 6 PM or at the call of the chair.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Neeb. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you very much. 7.